Okay. Hello, everybody. Um, Welcome to our class. Son las 5:15 de la tarde. A esta hora estoy grabando la clase, ya que ya pasaron 15 minutos desde que iniciamos la clase. Eh, Aún no hay nadie, así que por eso vamos a tener la grabación, ¿ok? Del tema de este día. Espero puedan ver el video y sobre todo puedan también practicar, ¿ok? Thank you. Everybody, today, let's start our class. This is our today's topic. Okay, everybody, in this opportunity, we are talking about present perfect. Maybe you already know a little bit about the present perfect. So we will have a very short review of this topic, and then we will learn about the WH questions using the present perfect structure. Okay, to start with this, remember, okay, first of all, what is our objective of this class? Well, the objective is to learn the use of the WH questions using the present perfect to talk about experiences. Remember that one of the purposes or the uses of present perfect is to talk about experiences we have had in our lives. That's why in this opportunity, we will use WH questions to talk about experiences. But first, let's do a review. Everybody, let's remember the structure of present perfect in affirmative form. As you can see, we have one example on the screen, and it's this one. I have surfed in El Tunco. I have surfed in El Tunco. As you can see there, everybody, we have an experience I had in the past in El Tunco Beach, right? Then we have the following structure. Okay, we have the subject plus the auxiliary have or has, depending on the subject. After that, we have a verb in past participle. Remember that on the list of verbs, we have three different types of verbs. First of all, the verb in base form. Second, we have the verbs in past. And the third column is the verb in past participle. Okay, so we have to practice verbs in past participle. And well, the last part, everybody, is the complement. As you can see, we have different colors for that example. First of all, the subject, I. The auxiliary, have. The verb in past participle, surfed. And the complement, in El Tunco. Okay, so we have different parts of these sentences. Then, guys, look at the timeline. This is the use of the present perfect. Activities started in the past and continuous to the present. That's why we say that when we use the present perfect, we are talking about experiences, something that started in the past and it continues to the present. Okay, this is an example in affirmative. Remember, subject, have or has, verb in past participle, and the complement. Now, another important thing about this is the conjugation of the subject and the auxiliary. You know, when we use the present perfect, we need to use I have, you have, we have, they have. We use these subjects and the auxiliary have in present perfect. Then, on the other hand, we have to use he has, she has, it has. These are the subjects for third person singular. It is always like that in all tenses, right? If you are in simple present, so you know he, she, it has different rules. Then if we are using oh, well, even the verb to be is different for them in simple present, right? Now, this is present perfect. We also have to use different rules. Auxiliary have is only for I, you, we, and they. And the auxiliary has, it's only for he, she, and it. Okay? This is affirmative. Remember, affirmative form. Now we have a review about present perfect in negative. In this part, the main difference is the use of the word not next to the auxiliary have or has. For example, they have not played with fireballs in the Nehapa. They have not played with fireballs in the Nehapa. Okay? As you see, we divide this sentence in different colors. First of all, the subject plus have not or has not, depending on the subject. Then we have the verb in past participle. And finally, we use the complement. For example, the subject, they, the auxiliary have, not, the verb in past participle, played, and the complement with fireballs in Nehapa. Okay? As you see, everybody, we have an example in negative and different colors to divide this sentence and to identify each part of the sentence. Okay? This is a great experience. But now, let's move to the conjugation of the subject and auxiliaries. As you can see over here, we use have with the following subjects. I have not, or the contraction, I haven't. You have not, or you haven't. We have not, or we haven't. They have not, or they haven't. The next auxiliary, or the next form of the auxiliary has, we use it with he, she, and it. For example, he has not, or the contraction, he hasn't. She has not, or she hasn't. And then we have it has not, or it hasn't. Okay? This is the conjugation of the subjects and the auxiliary have or has in negative form. Okay? Let's continue practicing, guys. Remember the structures and practice the use of present perfect. Then, everybody, we have, of course, the yes, no questions. Remember that there are different forms of the tenses. We always have affirmative, we always have negative, and we always have yes, no questions and WH questions. But now let's check the use of the yes, no questions. Remember, we are talking about experiences. All the class, it's about experiences. So let's check this. Everybody, we have the following example. Have you jumped out of an airplane? Have you jumped out of an airplane? Okay. And this opportunity, we change the position of the subject and the auxiliary have or has. In a sentence, we say, you have. In an affirmative sentence, you have. But in a yes, no question, we change the positions. Instead of saying you have, we say, have you? Have you? Okay, as you can see in the structure, we use have or has, depending on the subject. Then we use the subject, of course. After that, the verb in past participle. And finally, we use the complement. One more time, we divide this question in different colors. First of all, the auxiliary have, the subject you, the verb in past participle jumped out, and the complement of an airplane. Have you jumped out of an airplane? Now, remember that in this kind of questions, we have to use, well, we can use different or possible answers, okay? First of all, we have the short answers. Have you jumped out of an airplane? Yes, I have. Or no, I haven't. Okay, these are, everybody, the short answers. Remember, short answers. I consider this is the easiest and correct way to answer, okay? Because we just need the auxiliary, right? I have, I haven't. Yes, I have. No, I haven't. Okay, so in my opinion, guys, on my personal opinion, this is the best way to answer the yes/no questions. However, we also have long answers. When we use the long answers, we have to answer with the complete sentence. For example, yes, I have jumped out of an airplane. Of an air, oops, yes, airplane. Well done. Okay, yes, I have jumped of an airplane. Or, no, I haven't jumped out of an airplane. Okay, and that's it. Okay, as you see, we answer in two different ways: short answers, long answers. It depends on you guys which of these you prefer. Have you jumped out of an airplane? Yes, I have. Or, yes, I have jumped out of an airplane. No, I haven't. Or, no, I haven't jumped out of an airplane. Okay? At the end, everybody, it's up to you if you use short answers or long answers. Remember, yes, no questions in present perfect. Now, everybody, let's get into our business. Today's class, it's about the WH questions using the present perfect to know more about experiences. For example, where have you traveled to? Where have you traveled to? Okay, right now, the question it's talking about places you have visited during your vacations or on your personal trips. Okay, the structure, as you see, first of all, we need to use the WH words. Just in case you don't remember these words, let me give you some examples. When we talk about the WH words, it means, for example, what, where, when, or even how, okay? So these are some examples of WH words. In the question we have today, we are using where. After that, we need to use the auxiliary have or has, depending on the subject. After that, we have the subject. In this opportunity, we use you. Next part of the structure is the verb in past participle. Remember, we use the verb in past participle in all its forms: affirmative, negative, yes, no questions, and also WH questions. We need to use the verbs in past participle. And finally, we use the complement. Pay attention to it, everybody. The complement is not always part of the sentence. Complement is not always part of the question. This is not a sentence, this is a question, but you know, okay? So in some cases, guys, the complement is not necessary sometimes, not all the time. So we have to pay attention to it, okay? Where, auxiliary have, subject you, the verb traveled, the complement to. But this is also part of the verb. Just to give you an example, everybody, it could be a complement. Okay, now WH questions, remember, when we answer the WH questions, we always need to answer with more information. For example, if this is a yes no question, you know, I only have to answer yes or no. But in WH questions, I have to give more information. In this case, guys, what is the possible answer for this question? Where have you traveled to? Well, let me give you an example. I have traveled to, let me see, for example, to San Miguel, Sonsonate, Chalatenango, and Usulután, only places in El Salvador. So, okay. So I have traveled to San Miguel, Sonsonate, Chalatenango, and Usulután. This is an example, guys, about places in El Salvador. But maybe, okay, you can also give me other examples. I have traveled to, oh, Guatemala. Well done. Okay, I have traveled to Spain. Or I have traveled to Italy. Okay, these are some examples, guys. As you can see, I give you more information about the places I traveled to. Okay, so these are, everybody, some examples of the WH questions. Now, everybody, let's pay attention to the specific use of each WH word. Remember, I gave you some WH words, for example, what, where, when, and how. But now let's see what's their use, okay? First of all, guys, we have what. Maybe this is the most common WH word, what. When we use what, we use it to ask questions about things and actions. For example, what extreme sports have you done or have you practiced? Okay, if you like extreme sports, of course. So you can tell me, I have practiced surf, I have practiced parkour, I have practiced, I don't know, kayaking, for example. So we are talking about things, actions, parkour, surf, and also kayaking, okay? So we are talking about things, actions, when we use what. Then, guys, we have when. When we use when, we are talking about questions about time. Time. When has he, when has he climbed Mount Everest? When has he climbed Mount Everest? Maybe the answer it will be about next year. Since it is talking about the past, last year, or sometimes, everybody, it could be last month, okay? Or something related to time, okay? Or sometimes even we can use it to express the repetition of that activity. When we use when, in this case, it's not possible, but we can use some expressions related to past experiences. When has he climbed Mount Everest? After that, everybody, we have the use of the of these WH words. Where and who, okay? When using where, we asked about places or directions. Again, everybody, the example, where have you traveled to? Maybe, as I mentioned, you can tell me cities or countries you have visited or touristic places. After that, we have the use of who. Who, it's used to talk about people. Who has she gone skiing with? In this case, the information we need to share, it's about people, okay? She has gone skiing with her boyfriend, for example, or she has gone skiing with her friends or with her best friend, okay? Always the answer or the information we add to these questions, it's about people. Who? About people. Next and last, we have the use of why and how. These questions are not very common when talking about present perfect, or, well, it depends on the situation, right? For example, why, it's used to it's used to ask for reasons. We answer using because. Why have you swum with sharks? Why have you swum with sharks? This is an example about reasons. So I am asking about a reason, or I am asking for a reason. So what is the reason you have for swimming with sharks? Or why have you swum with sharks? I swam with sharks because, this is my answer, because I consider this is interesting, or this is something challenging. Okay, that's a good reason of swimming with sharks, but it's your reason, not mine, of course. The last word in this opportunity is how. When using how, everybody, we ask about conditions or the way something is done. How has the parkour experience been? I never practiced parkour, so I can't tell you about that experience. But maybe we can ask someone else, and he or she can tell us, oh, practicing parkour has been an amazing experience, even though it's dangerous. Okay, I don't know. These are my thoughts. But as you see, we are talking about the condition, okay? We are talking about the status of something, okay? Not about, so this is amazing, this is good, this is something fantastic, incredible, okay? We are talking about condition, okay? These are the uses of the WH words and some examples using also the present perfect. So everybody, I invite you to practice present perfect in all its forms. Affirmative, negative, yes, no questions, and also WH questions. Okay. That was our today's class, everybody. I hope it will be helpful for you. And, well, of course, that you can practice and learn. Let me switch to Spanish right now. Bien, ya que terminamos con el tema gramatical de este día, pues como les comentaba, espero puedan revisar este contenido y también les sea de mucha ayuda. Bueno, que también les sea de mucha ayuda al momento que estén viendo esta grabación. Me gustaría también explicarles algo muy importante, y es que ya que nuestras clases solamente duran 1 hora, pues muchas veces no nos queda el tiempo para que podamos practicar más, ¿ok? Más de lo que deberíamos. Así que por ese motivo nosotros también tenemos una plataforma para que ustedes puedan estar completando tareas y sobre todo practicando los temas que vemos cada día. Acá lo que hacemos es explicar el tema, tratar de darles o dejarles claro, mejor dicho, lo principal de estos temas, y en la plataforma ustedes pues van a encontrar ya más información o incluso esta misma información solamente que escrito y algunas veces en video, pero videos cortos. Así que por este motivo también tenemos nuestras clases en vivo que les invito a que puedan unirse. Y pues solamente déjenme compartirles o darles un vistazo de la plataforma. Pues esta es la plataforma que ustedes van a estar utilizando en los próximos días. Como pueden ver, al iniciar o al ingresar a la plataforma, ustedes deben tener su username y su password, su usuario y contraseña, el cual se les va a brindar en los próximos días. Luego de eso, pues ingresamos y bueno, al ingresar vamos a ver, en este caso me aparecen distintos recuadros, distintas clases, pero a ustedes solamente les va a aparecer un nivel. ¿Cuál sería el nivel que les va a aparecer? El nivel que a ustedes les va a aparecer es el Intermediate 1, ¿ok? Ya que es este el nivel que estamos iniciando en este día, Intermediate 1, ¿ok? Así que, pues solamente animarles a que estén pendientes de eso. La plataforma no es tan difícil de usar y es bastante fácil poder completar las actividades también. Para mostrarles, déjenme ingresar al nivel intermedio 1 y ahí pueden ver una lista eh, de actividades divididas por unidades también. Tenemos la unidad 1, unidad 2, unidad 3, unidad 4 y unidad 5. Si ven, todas las unidades pues tienen un cierto número de actividades, las cuales tenemos que completar en el tiempo que comprende una unidad, que generalmente cada unidad dura de 3 a 4 días, bueno, generalmente 3 días. Así que cada clase vamos a ir completando cierto número de actividades y espero que pues ustedes lo puedan hacer también cuando ya tengan su usuario y también su contraseña. Si ven, para iniciar tenemos, bueno, la unidad es acerca de Traditional Dishes, lo cual van a ver más acá. Luego de eso, pues podemos ingresar a cada una de las actividades. Por ejemplo, voy a ingresar a Traditional Dishes, que es una descripción de nuestra unidad, en este caso de la unidad 1, y los objetivos de esta unidad también. Así que, pues eso sería lo principal. Ustedes deben ingresar a cada una de las actividades que les aparecen en este listado. ¿Para qué? Para que al terminar el nivel intermedio 1, ustedes tengan un 100% de actividades. Si ustedes, por ejemplo, no ingresan a las actividades, a una actividad que no ingresen, no les va a marcar como completado o al 100%. Algo que también es importante es que si ustedes notan, tenemos la descripción de la unidad acá, los objetivos, y en la parte de abajo tenemos un botón que se llama Complete and Continue. Ustedes siempre deben dar clic a ese botón, ya que si no le dan clic, aunque hayan ingresado a la actividad, aunque la hayan completado, les va a aparecer como que está incompleto. ¿Ok? Si ustedes, por ejemplo, vamos a ingresar a otra actividad, esta solo es una descripción, entonces vamos a ir, por ejemplo, a esta, Have you ever? Have you ever? Acá pues vemos la pregunta, have you ever? Y tenemos que ordenar la pregunta aquí, ya está ordenada. Have you ever tried frog legs? Submit answer. Y bueno, tenemos 5 preguntas. Déjame mostrar las 5 preguntas. Ahí, muy bien. Ok. Al final tenemos que darle submit. Bueno, en todas las preguntas tenemos que darle submit. Y luego de eso, pues nos muestra nuestro resultado, cuánto nos sacamos en por lo menos en este ejercicio. Así que eso sería lo principal, que podamos ir completando, sobre todo dándole clic al botón que está hasta abajo. Al principio vieron que decía Complete and Continue. Lo mismo pasa, por ejemplo, con este video, que es la gramática del Present Perfect, justamente lo que vimos hoy en clases. Igual ven el video y luego de eso, Complete and Continue, ¿ok? Mientras no le demos clic a este botón de abajo en esta actividad o en cualquier otra, siempre les va a aparecer como incompleto. Así que, guys, please take this into account. Tómenlo en cuenta. Siempre darle clic al botón de abajo para que la actividad aparezca como completada y el porcentaje de actividades vaya aumentando. ¿Ok? Yo puedo ver en qué actividades trabajan, en qué actividades se han quedado también, cuál es la última actividad que ustedes han hecho, o mejor dicho, van a hacer. Así que, pues, solamente animarlos a ir al día con eso, con esas actividades, ¿ok? Eso sería lo principal acerca de la plataforma. Espero que les sea de ayuda y que sobre todo podamos conectarnos a las clases, practicar aquí juntos y sobre todo practicar en la plataforma, que también es importante. Así que, well, thank you guys. Espero vean la grabación and bye bye.